Hi, I'm Kristin Pelletier, founder of KP Consulting, where we help dentists reduce stress, increase profitability, and create a practice they love. And today I want to talk to you about something that frustrates many practices, and that's last-minute cancellations and no-shows. I get asked how to fix this all the time, and I can sense when I get asked this question that it's causing quite a bit of frustration because really it can wreck your entire day. You may have the perfect day scheduled with the right mix of procedures, and at the last minute someone calls and cancels, or even worse, they no-show their appointment. So what I want to talk to you about today is the cancellation fee. Many practices that are struggling with last-minute cancellations and no-shows start charging a cancellation fee as their first step to making this situation better. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make towards creating resolution for this problem. And let me tell you why. If you're experiencing a high volume of last-minute cancellations and no-shows, that's a sign to you of a problem with how you're communicating value and how you're communicating the expectation for the next appointment. Because if you're doing that effectively, this should be a very small, isolated problem that happens every now and then in your practice. So if you have this as a major issue in your practice and the very first thing you do is start charging patients, if you didn't communicate the value and the expectation in an effective way the first time, adding a fee to that if they don't keep their appointment or need to change it last minute is only going to cause patients to be very frustrated, and frankly they may even leave the practice because they feel like the fee is not fair. So I want to save you the time and the trouble of having to have all of those difficult conversations because you're charging a fee without communicating effectively. So what I want you to look at is, what do you say each and every time you schedule an appointment? Are you building value, and are you communicating the expectation as far as what do you want them to do if their schedule changes and they can't keep the appointment? What's okay and what's not okay? So I'll give you an example of good communication when you're making an appointment. It could be just as simple as saying, Mr. Patient, I'm reserving an hour on my schedule for you next week, and because we are reserving this time just for you, if something changes on your schedule, we ask that you give us a minimum of 24 hours notice if you need to make a change. So you're letting them know that you've reserved the time just for them, and you've asked them if something does change, please let you know, and you've also told them that you need at least 24 hours notice in order to fill that time with another patient. Another example of that could be on a more advanced procedure, one that takes longer than an hour, is you could let the patient know, we've reserved our entire morning for you, and should you need to make a change, doctor asks that you give him at least 48 hours notice. You could even say a week. Whatever the expectation is, just make sure you communicate it with the patient and make sure that you do it in a way that they understand. Patients don't want to break the rules, so let them know what the rules are, what's the expectation. This communication improvement alone will decrease the level of last-minute cancellations and no-shows that you have on your schedule. The other thing I want you to take into consideration is, do you value your patient's time? Because it's really not fair to ask your patients to value your time and you're not valuing their time in return. So be very careful about when and how often you move a patient's appointment. Let's say you want to rearrange your schedule to make room for golf tomorrow afternoon. Don't call all of your patients and say, doctor has something that's come up, we need to move your appointment. Or, we have a sick team member and we need to reschedule. Now, every now and then is understandable. Just like if they miss an appointment with us every now and then, we can understand that too. But if you make a habit of moving patient appointments, they're going to send the message that when something comes up, we just simply change the appointment, whether it's on our end or theirs. So be very mindful of honoring their time just as much as you're asking them to honor yours. So put these strategies in place first, and you're going to reduce the number of last-minute cancellations and no-shows. And then for the patients that like to break the rules, you can add the cancellation policy as the final element to this system. I hope this tip was helpful, and if you'd like more practice management tips, visit my website, KristinPelletier.com, where you can also download my free Practice Profitability Kit. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.